Good morning, good evening. Hi, everybody. No matter where you are in the world, welcome. Are we live, Mita?
We're live on Instagram. Yes, right now we're live.
Okay, great. What about
And
YouTube?
YouTube, we're live.
Hello,
TikTok.
YouTube, Instagram, TikTok. Mita, I can't believe it. Our community has grown to about 19,000 people who want to heal and grow, or some of my family members that just want to peep on what I'm doing. Good morning, good evening, everyone. Where is everyone coming in from? We're going to give folks a few minutes. Today, we are going to talk about adab and stress. Now, I don't know about you guys. It is rare that you meet someone that's adab within our cultural context that's not completely and utterly stressed out for lots of reasons, which I'll get into a little later today. Good morning. Hi, everybody. Good morning. Good morning. We have so much to cover. I could talk about adab stress over 6 months, but today I'm only going to talk about it for the next 60 minutes. So today for those that are joining, where are you guys coming in from? Mita? Wait, first, Mita, how's the lighting? How's everything?
I think on TikTok we've been having an effect or something on. Can you please guys let us know in the comments? Please help us out because I think some filter is on with the lighting, but on Instagram and YouTube looks really good. Let us know if the lighting on your end feels a little different on TikTok. And for anyone that's watching and wondering, we're streaming on different platforms, so that's why you may find Tiffany looking at different screens.
I'm looking here, there, down, over. So,
Yeah.
Ishmael, hey, Shusar fiha. Okay, is the
But let's
TikTok
begin.
better?
Let's begin. Yeah, yeah,
Huh?
yeah,
Is it
yeah.
better?
It's good. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Where's everyone coming in from? Looks like people are still hopping on. We're going to give Oh, it's not even 8 yet. Oh, شوف احنا. Yeah. All right. All right. Let's keep it. Mita, any other news in the back? We're talking about Arab stress. For those that are new, my name is Tiffany Tota. I'm a marriage and family therapist coming to you live from Los Angeles, California. And I'm joined by my amazing assistant, Mira. Mira, you want to introduce yourself to people that are new to the platform?
Oh yes. My name is Mira. I'm Tiffany's assistant. I'm the one in the back end of this platform, trying to help you out, trying to be there whenever you message us in the DMs. We get so many DMs. We try our best to get to you. I'm here with you in the live to also help Tiffany see your comments. Anyone that has any question, please just leave it in the comments and be sure I'm going to let Tiffany see it. And so every Wednesday we talk about a new topic. Today it's about stress, which I'm so excited. Like I can't wait for us to start talking about it. Oh my God. And yeah, if you have any questions, be sure to leave them in the comments. And if you need any support, if you're looking for extra support beside the lives, you can find that on our website. You can find the link to it in our link tree in the bio. And you will find a guidebook for the LGBT community. You will find an autonomic nervous system ebook if you'd like to check that out. All the details are on the website. And also for the LGBT community, we have a support group every Tuesday at 9 a.m. PDT. If you're interested, also go check that out. It's amazing, Tiff, right?
I love the LGBT support group. It is just amazing when you have folks come together and support one another in the way that, and it's quite powerful. It's unfortunate our community is not embracing of the LGBT community, because I have met some of the kindest, most loving, connected people through that group. So, which restored my faith in humanity many times. And to be honest with you, I was like, they're so amazing. So, anyway, that's for another topic. That also causes me some stress, to be honest. All right, let's see. Where is everyone coming in from? Nita, help me out here. Where is everyone coming in from?
Yeah, let us know. We usually get people from Dubai, from
I
sorry, did
love
I you?
Dubai. Dubai's in the house. Nice. I love it.
Yes.
Where else? I guess it's quiet this morning. Everyone is.
Yes, it's a little quiet. We have Canada.
All right. Canadian.
Mm-hmm.
I think someone wrote hola. Let's see. Sí, puedo hablar en español. When you live in, I forgot to wear I didn't wear my rings. استنوا شوية. I have to wear my rings. كل live. شفتوا? شفتوا? This live is going to go bananas, okay? This live, I can feel it. The stress is already coming.
It's already
All right.
coming?
Well, I don't know what to tell you, Mita. I think as a culture, we are not good at managing stress. Let me put that out there. This platform is not for everyone because I speak on things that we don't necessarily talk about as a culture. We don't air out the dirty laundry, and I'm here to air out all of it because it's time. The younger generation has reached out to me on numerous occasions. They are suffering, and when they try and talk to their Arab parent around the suffering, the Arab parent says, "What's wrong with you? You have a roof over your head. You have akil qaddamak. Why are you suffering?" Well, today we're going to talk about stress, that it's not just a feeling, but as something your mind and your body experience together. And if you believe in being, mind, body, being, okay? Stress isn't always bad. I always let folks know when you're stressed out, it's an indicator. If you pay attention to your body, it's an indicator for you to wake up to something that you need to look at. So it's actually your nervous system. And Mita talked about the autonomic nervous system workbook that my colleague had done that we are helping to promote because it's a really solid workbook. But it's your actual nervous system trying to protect you. Now, to protect you from what? Only you can answer that. But when it comes to constant stress, which many of you are under chronic stress, it starts affecting your sleep, your relationships, your emotion, and your physical health. I was talking to my mother yesterday, and unfortunately, many here in my world in the United States, many of my generation are dying early. Now, I don't want to get all heavy, but this is, and I had talked to her about, I'm doing this live on chronic stress. And I was like, Yama, I wonder if those of us that were born here and the amount of stress that comes with living the double life or the stressors of coming from immigrant families, that's not blaming our families, but that chronic stress with nowhere to talk about it. We still have high mental health stigma, that it shows up in ways where the body can't tolerate it and manifest in cancer, autoimmune disease, and a plethora of other issues. So what does stress look like? Now, take a look at yourself. How does stress show up for you? Now, typically it shows up in 3 ways. 1, emotionally. So you may find yourself more anxious or irritable, cranky. You may start to feel more overwhelmed or feeling completely shut down. Okay, so take a look. What emotions may I be carrying that may be an indicator of stress? Physically, this is a big one because you may experience it as headaches, body tension, fatigue, stomach issues, and trouble sleeping. Anecdotally, I could say, in working within our cultural context, we suffer from a lot of migraines for different reasons, right? I'm not a medical doctor, yet with the high rates of anxiety and stress, which leads to chronic anxiety. I see a lot of migraines. I see a lot of gut issues, right? So for Arab parents out there with your little ones, I'm going to encourage you, if the little person says to you, Mama, Baba, my stomach hurts, I'm going to encourage you, don't shut them down. Don't flip out because you thought, why does your stomach hurt? Or tell them, no, your stomach doesn't hurt. I want you to take a minute, stop, take a deep breath, and ask yourself, is there any stress that your little person, little baby, your child may be experiencing? And that stress could be you. Okay. Mentally, you have thoughts like, I can't keep up. Everything feels too much. I have to hold it all together. Sound familiar? How many of you have experienced one or all three of these things, or have thought to yourself, I can't keep up, I can't do this? Anybody experience stress in their body in one of these three ways? My teta, Allah yarhamha, would say, Baghdadish teta. So there's certain words in Arabic that maybe you guys can share that. Maybe that's more helpful. That was an indicator that wasn't until later in life that I recognized that that was her way of Baghdadish. Okay. How are we doing on the comments, Mira? Anybody sharing anything meaningful?
Yeah, people are relating. We have Obeda saying, sure. Laila, always. I do. Sarah, yeah. Ronia, yes.
Good. Yeah.
Yeah.
So so we need to ask ourselves, particularly within our cultural context, it's very intense, why stress happens. So we know that our nervous system responds to pressure, uncertainty, conflict, financial strain, family expectations, or carrying too much for too long without any support. Okay. And so for a lot of us, especially within our collective immigrant families, there's an extra layer of feeling responsible for everyone else's emotions while ignoring our own. Okay, do you guys hear that? So we have all these stressors, multi-layered stressors within our cultural context, whether you're in the diaspora or living back home, so many layers. And as a clinician, I can tell you, as a marriage and family therapist, identifying and unearthing all those layers is extremely complex within our cultural context. So what does that mean for you? Let's do a quick stress check-in. Let's see how this is going to go. Mira, can you do me a favor? And in the comments, can you write never, sometimes, often, almost always? I'm going to try and do this online and see if this works.
Okay.
I'm going to have you guys do a quick stress check-in. We're going to do a quick assessment. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Do that. Now, I like to think really honestly, because no one's watching over you, right? You answer honestly, and let's see what you come up with. And feel free to, excuse me, drop the answers in the chat. So goodness, excuse me. How often do you feel overwhelmed or unable to cope? Never, sometimes, often, almost always. Okay. Irritable or easily frustrated. Again, never, sometimes, often, almost always. Okay. Anxious or constantly worried. tired even after rest. Okay, you guys got that? This is for you. This isn't for me. You don't have to please me. You don't have to do anything. This is for you to do a general check-in about these things. Okay, are you irritable, easily frustrated, anxious, always worried? Okay, or tired, even after you're resting. Now let's go to physical symptoms. How often do you experience headaches or body tension? Trouble sleeping, changes in your appetite. Now, a lot of we lie. We like to lie about how much we're eating and what we tell ourselves. So pay attention to this one, changes in the appetite. A racing heart or shallow breathing. Okay. Let's see. Now let's look at behaviors. How many of you never, sometimes, what was it? Never, sometimes, often, always, almost always. Avoid responsibility, procrastinate more than usual, withdraw from people. Withdraw from people, I see that a lot. Using food, screens, and substances to cope. I haven't talked about addiction within our culture. We hide it well. We use food and substances a lot. So how are we doing in the comments? Okay, let's see. Yeah, sometimes. Someone wrote never. God bless you. Okay, good for you. Let's see. Yeah, frustrated. Yeah, there you go. So this is just a quick check-in for you to say, where's my stress level? Now, if it's mostly sometimes, that's mild stress, which can be manageable. Mostly often is moderate stress, and I'll encourage you to, if it needs attention. And then mostly, if you wrote almost always, well, that's high stress and it's important to address soon. Now, in my experience as a clinician, by the time Arab come to me to get some support, they're at high stress. Not just high stress, but high stress for multiple things, okay? So you want to address it early. I let my clients know it's important when you're at that mild stress, when it's manageable, to nip it in the bud then, to take a look, do an assessment. What are the things that's stressing me out at that sometimes mild stress before it gets too inflamed? Because again, within our cultural context, life in general is stressful. Oh, and then, oh, here's another war. Our families are being bombed again. Oh, here's more upheaval in the Middle East. So if you're at high stress and then these external things happen, it's going to completely put your nervous system over the edge in an already maxed out nervous system. Do you guys hear that? So that's why within our culture, within actually everybody, not just our cultural context, but you want to address it early. Do not wait. Do weekly check-ins, daily check-ins, whatever you need on where's my stress level? What's stressing me out? Okay, how are we doing? Good? Now, in many Arab households, it's important to remember that stress is layered, as I mentioned before. We have family expectations, loyalty, reputation, religion, financial pressure, immigration status, gender roles, and the belief that family comes first no matter what. Now, the reason why I go through this list is because in general, as Arab, we minimize our stress. Well, it's a coping, right? We minimize it till we can't ignore it. So I'm like, these are all the things we're dealing with. Is it not normal to be stressed about these things? So this stress can make you feel constantly, and it's heavy and it's intense, especially when emotions aren't openly discussed. It's very heavy. And so you want to be able to separate respect from silence, because many of you, at least in my experience, think that as long as I stay quiet and don't express my needs, that is a sign of respect. And I'm going to say, no, you can respect your parents, you can honor your family and your culture, again, while acknowledging that you're overwhelmed and burned out. Now, many people were taught that staying quiet keeps the peace. And what do they say? It rages a war within you. But unspoken stress, so you don't talk about it, you keep suppressing it and stuffing it, leaks through anger, shutdown, anxiety, and of course, resentment. What's interesting to me is I wish with some really smart PhD, I haven't seen studies yet on our culture, Arab women and cancer rates. I would really be interested in that, because the constant unspoken stress, and then what happens? Where is it going to go in the body? It's going to manifest in disease. Okay, how are we doing so far? Have I lost you guys? We're good? You guys can see the connections? So when you're quiet and you don't say anything about the stress, think about what that silence costs you. Okay. This is a big one. I'm going to encourage everyone, if you're going to manage stress within our collective culture, can we please stop being everyone's emotional manager? Right? Ask yourself, what is actually my responsibility and what belongs to someone else? Okay? Because especially, I think this is, I don't know if it's necessarily true of the oldest daughter. I would say I see this more often than not with the more sensitive one in the family. And you could be anywhere in the birth order, you could be any gender, does not matter. That you are so worried, you take on responsibility for everyone and everything, their emotions, how they move. That is extremely stressful. And it's a game you will lose every time, because each person has to be responsible for their own emotions. But when you're trying to control and fix this stress that you're under, for something that can never be solved because they have to figure it out themselves, yeah, don't do it. The other one, loyalty. This is a big theme that's come up for me this week in conversations that I've been having with people, that they would say, and this is, Tiffany, where does this loyalty end? How much do I need to be loyal to people who abuse me, harm me, emotionally put me down, criticize me, yet within our, and that's extremely stressful to be in those environments. Yet we have a cultural message that says you must be loyal no matter what. So within the context of stress, it's important for you to understand how much of this loyalty to people, places, and things is costing you. This vast amounts, and then you're supposed to be happy or be free, or, okay. Loyalty does have its limits, and that's one of the biggest challenges in working within our cultural context is, okay, at what point can you give to yourself, because the stress has gotten to a point where it's harming you emotionally, physically, and mentally. It's harming your relationships. Okay. All right. Any questions? Where are we at? How's everybody doing?
Yeah, we have a question from Sarah. She said, but I don't want to be a weenie person, always complaining about what stresses me.
Spoken like a true child of Arab. Habibti. You know what's interesting is what was the word? You don't want to be a weak person or a weenie?
Weenie.
Yeah. because we were taught from a very young age, if I have any need and I started to cry, what happened? You were taught, don't be weak, be strong, stand up. So is it you're always complaining? Is acknowledging your needs about complaining, or is it about naming what may be happening for you? Okay. So complaint, there's a thing called constructive wallowing. In fact, I think that's a book that you give yourself a certain amount of time to say, okay, this is very hard. I cannot stand these people. This situation is totally stressful. No one's meeting me halfway. I'm responsible for everything and everyone, and I want to complain about it. Okay, it's okay for you to talk about it. Complaining comes when you're not taking action. That's when it becomes problematic, that you're just sitting in your complaining soup. And within our cultural concept, it's okay. Vent it out. Talk about it. What space have you had to talk about these things? But you're going to internalize it as I am weak, because when you were little, you were taught, don't ask for your needs. You have enough needs with a roof over your head, food on your table, clothes on your back. Oh, khalas, that's it. You have it all. Yet there's no acknowledgement for any type of emotional need for lots of reasons. And so, yeah, you're not a weenie. I'm going to encourage you to, feel your feelings. However, question, is that really true? Any other questions, Mira? Look at I hurt my back. Go ahead. Oh, I can't hear you.
Oh, I'm sorry. Can you hear me now?
Now I can. Yeah.
Okay. It says, do you think we can treat stress by religion?
I think religion definitely has its place if that calls to you. Prayer, meditation, going to, praying, church, any of these things. Yeah, it can help with stress, but I can tell you within our cultural context, you guys are going to get mad at me. Religion is the cause of a lot of stress. And I think I have a video on that. A lot of stress is as a result of religious trauma. However, wintering, number one, to answer your question, yes, faith can have its place in reducing stress. However, in today's world, I don't necessarily see it as the only aspect. I think we need to. All right, which goes to within our cultural context, stress can be around reputation. How many of you, when you go out in public, let's say you're going out on a date and you want to keep it hidden, or you're with someone that people won't approve of, and the reputation of the family, and you're out and you're supposed to go out and have a good time, and you're so stressed out, you're like trying to go out and have a good time, and because of this reputation of the family, you can't even go out and enjoy yourself because you're so stressed out about bint khal abuki that might see you and then go out to the peanut gallery and say, shufna, shufti binta. And then you're like, okay. So the reason why I'm sharing, I don't know why that was so funny. Mira, stop. It's sort of like the reputation can stress you out. That you have to, and here in the diaspora, being Palestinian, I could tell you a lot of us out here feel like we have to be this model Palestini, and that causes a lot of stress. So then, genocide is happening. We have to be the model Arab to, act. And I'm like, all bets are off, but that for many, many years before, growing up here, it was extremely stressful. The reputation of being the model person. Now we talk about religion and culture, and that's a big one, which financial pressure. I have a whole live on financial pressure within our cultural context. Your parents you may get a promotion. How much money did you make? You need to make more. You need to make more money, more, and feeling that pressure. And you may feel good about getting that promotion, but it's never enough. So constantly feeling that weight upon you. Or if you're abroad, or even here, it's hard nowadays, and that financial pressure can cause a lot of stress. Immigrant stress. Americans are the absolute worst in understanding what it's like to be an immigrant in this country. I can only speak to the US. I can't speak anywhere else. That immigrant stress and getting your travel documents, your visa, your work visa, waiting, all the documentation, the paperwork, the money. And they're like, oh, these immigrants here in America. And I'm like, really? You have no idea the amount of stress that immigrants go through to live here. And they act like it's some free-for-all. But watching people Arab go through the stress of, what if it doesn't go through? What if my travel document doesn't go through? I can't visit my family. That's extremely stressful. Gender roles are another one. That constant pressure that you're feeling. Remember, the reason why I'm highlighting it and really getting you guys to think about it intensely is because we need to understand that our nervous systems are completely maxed out right now and have been for a very, very long time, for multiple generations, if I can say that. So how do we solve this? What do we do? Let's take a deep breath. And I know we don't talk about boundaries within our cultural context. However, can we talk about it around micro boundaries, right? So even if you can't fully separate, and I'm not mad at anyone that does, but if you can't fully separate, what are the small things you can do that will help restore you? So sometimes, I even watch Binti, sometimes she'll wear headphones, not to be rude, but she will wear headphones, because if I'm talking to a family member or there's some stuff happening, she's like, I'm not listening to this crap. I'm going to put my earphones on. So that's one way of creating a micro boundary. Taking walks, having a nighttime routine, having a daytime routine. Or even just a small corner just for you, because I know a lot of Arab families, because of the lack of boundaries, they'll go into your room, they'll clean, which is nice, like having somebody clean your room or take it, but they'll come in and they'll start, messing with your stuff. And that can be very, very stressful if they touch your things or look at the things that are special to you. Or Arab parents are notorious for going into the room and throwing things away that were meaningful to the child. Like, what? They would go in, let's say the kid has ishi halu, they loved it, it was something special to them. The Arabic parent goes, Yi, ish hada, and then bazituha. And I'm like, that kid is now traumatized. It's totally stressed out because maybe that was their emotional regulation object that you literally threw out. And so you wonder why you may have a hypersensitivity to the things around you, because there was so much stress you had growing up. And continue to give yourself those moments of giving back to yourself. You want to build small moments of autonomy. I know we don't like to talk about that. Look, we can still be in our families, still be a part of them. They may consume so much of your time. However, can you give yourself small moments of autonomy where you can lower your stress levels even a little bit? Now, what does that mean? We talked about walking. Somebody mentioned prayer, religion. Prayer could be good. Music, exercise, journaling. Goodness, just sitting in your car alone for 10 minutes before you walk into that house. Or how many of you park هيك برا شوية. You park and you sit in your car for a minute just to, okay, I'm about to go in, right? So this is where even just doing that, seeing friends, making time for friends. When you're struggling with depression, it may be hard for you to reach out to people. Let those people know so that they can reach out to you and pull you out so that you can enjoy some nice time. Therapy is a big one. Many times within our cultural context, therapy is the only space where you have someone's undivided attention to be able to help you work through a lot of this. Creative work. I think I talk about my cousin a lot. She's the Palestinian potter, Toda Studios. And her creative work came from just the stressors of being back home, being here. Like it was just, you create through that. Routines that just belong to you. The morning routine, don't pick up the phone. I think we have, like, you start your morning off and they're already hick, la, 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 and you're already mnetaviz or mnetavze before you even start your work day because they're on the phone or they're in your face, they're in your room, not respecting that you need that downtime, maybe transition between sleep and wake. And so give yourself permission, small moments, don't answer the phone. They'll be fine. All right, let's see. I'm going to ask you guys a question. What keeps you from giving to yourself? Like, you're under all this stress. I'm encouraging you to have micro moments for yourself, micro boundaries. Give yourself some autonomy. What keeps you from giving to yourself in that way? Mira, can you write it in Arabic too, please? Do you mind? Because I think sometimes when I talk in Arabic, they don't understand. And then also the second thing is sometimes these concepts need to be written in Arabic, not English, because they don't translate well. What are some of the barriers to you taking care of yourself or giving to yourself in these very small ways? Fear of being perceived as selfish. Thank you, Rania. Yes, very good. That is an emotional manipulation tactic that parents will do to say, why are you doing this for you? So now you internalize it as being selfish. And I encourage people, and I say all the time, you're being self-full. What the Arab parent in their limitation does not understand is that the more you can give to yourself, the more they will be able to give to you. Yeah, Adham, you wrote guilt. Yes. Arab guilt, Arab guilt is so intense. And I have a whole video on Arab guilt. I mean, we literally feel guilty for breathing. Let's see. Mira, can you read some of the comments?
Of course, we have, I feel like I abandoned them, or that what they would make me, or it would make him feel like it's abandoning.
That's right. Who said that? Obada?
Yes.
Very good. Very, very good insight. You feel like you may be abandoning them because growing up, that's the conditioning. Yet, are you truly abandoning them? Now, they may project onto you if you take some time for, where are you? When inta, min zaman ma haketish, right? Is that how you say it? You haven't talked to you in a long time. And then you just spoke to them yesterday and you're like, oh God, I feel guilty. I'm not with them. That's just not realistic. So to answer your question more succinctly, they would make you feel that way because they're afraid. They're afraid that if you give even a little to yourself, that they will be abandoned and rejected. Yet in their limitation and their limited thinking, they don't understand. If you took that morning off, you're going to be so much more pleasant. around them, because you're going to have less resentment, less anger, less frustration. Because what do we know about many Arab households? And you guys might get upset with me. We lack emotional intelligence. And so direct confrontation. So you're not giving to yourself. You're fried. You're working. You've got multiple, all these stressors I talked about. Then you go to the family gathering that you didn't want to go to, but out of guilt, you went anyway. And then someone in the family says something and things can escalate quickly. People can pop off real fast. Why? Because the nervous system needed multiple resets before going into that family environment. And so when you're in that and you're already stressed out, you want to take a moment, the emotional pause, and that takes skill and time. And you want to slow your voice down. Now, I'm notorious for popping off. So I'm not here to I'm trying to teach you guys, don't do what I did. I fought, I screamed, I confronted. I'm in pain. See me, look at me. I can't do this anymore. And it's not healthy for you. You will keep kicking a hornet's nest, and every time you kick it, hoping you'll get a different result. What's going to happen is you just get stung, and more stress and more pain. And then it's a wash, rinse, repeat cycle. So you want to take yourself out of that. And the emotional pause is going to be really important, that anytime you go into these family environments and you're at half full, there's a high likelihood, many of you are running on fumes in these family environments, and then you go off on them, and then you yell at them, or you stomp out, or you've seen somebody stomp out. Well, that's probably a result of high stress for a very long time, not being addressed, and no one giving space or permission for that person to take care of themselves. Because of the pressure and the guilt, you have to be loyal, be there for us all the time. Do you guys see how this works? All right. So you want to give yourself have your autonomy, have the micro boundaries. But before any of that, you got to do an assessment of yourself. I know saying no to weddings, let's say you're under a lot of financial pressure. And then nowadays, the younger generation, I don't know what happened. There's it's a short budget. It's half of somebody's yearly salary to support someone in their wedding festivities. I'm not mad at it if you could afford to do that, but you may have somebody that can't afford to do that. So they feel the obligation, they feel the financial pressure. They may put themselves in debt because they don't want the shame of not being able to afford it. Maybe they're in university, or maybe their family, with all the war and the businesses and everything going down, maybe their family can't afford it, but we have so much shame around that. I lost my point. Oh, so it's about giving yourself permission to say no. And if somebody says no to your wedding, or no to your event, or no to something, and then immediately the Arab will internalize it as, they're not respectful, they're not this, they're not that. I got that a lot, right? It's not that. Maybe think that maybe they're overwhelmed, maybe they're depressed, maybe they don't have the energy to do the things that you're asking them to do. So how can we support one another in someone taking care of themselves, instead of internalizing it as some slight from 1972, All right. You know what's stressing me out? This coffee cup that keeps spilling. This is stressing me out, this coffee cup. All right. Where are we?
I think, can we address Sarah? She said she feels like if she gives time for herself to relax, she couldn't do that because she will feel more stressed and annoyed with herself. So what do you think about that? What would you say?
Wait, I'm sorry, say that again.
She said, if I have time to relax, I couldn't because I would be more stressed and annoyed with myself.
Yeah, that's the classic, the Arab person on the massage table and they get more upset that they're getting a massage because someone's trying to help them relax and then they get more agitated.
Right.
Sarah, it takes time. So that's an indicator of high chronic stress that you've been giving so much of yourself. I'm going out on a limb here because I don't know you, but you've been doing so much for so long that when you give a little bit to yourself, it stresses you out. Do you see? So in order to get out of that is leaning into giving to yourself, feeling the distress and the tolerance of giving to yourself. And the more you can practice that and do that for you, and within our Arab cultural context, I say you need to do that daily because we have too much pushback that if you don't identify the stressors and take a little bit of time for yourself every single day, it's not enough for the external stressors that many of you deal with. Does that make sense? Mira, was that succinct?
Yes. I think it's about awareness. Like when she understands that, yes, this means that you might be really dealing with chronic stress, then you think about how can I change it.
Correct. It's not like if you think that you're going to relax or be able to relax, you don't have to do anything, but I'll encourage you to push through that feeling because that's a lie in your space that says, Sarah, you can't give to yourself because, God forbid you find some joy in your life because you are meant to be everything to everybody, taking care of work when if you did a real assessment, you were honest with yourself, everyone's fine. You may be the one drowning. So if you offer yourself, bus a crumb just to eat, you feel guilty because you're like, oh, I'm taking food away from somebody else. Habibti, it's a crumb. Crumb. It's okay. Then at some point you build your life where you want the loaf. But until you can start with giving yourself the crumb, and then you give a little more and a little more, you can really enjoy the deliciousness of giving to yourself.
Yes.
Yeah. It takes time. It takes time. It takes a lot of time to do that. But that's where going to therapy, learning about your autonomic nervous system, what we're trying to do here as a platform is to make this stuff accessible. Because again, we don't necessarily pay money to invest in ourselves. Many don't. And I said, okay, Mira, if we're going to help our people kind of get this, we need to make it accessible. So do a workbook, read a book. More important than getting the knowledge is once you get the knowledge to put it into action plans. Because without action, you're going to stay stuck. Okay, what else? I'm tough to think.
Abada said maybe start with baby steps in the beginning and step by step. So
yeah, it could be not answering the phone. Mm-hmm. When you're enjoying your breakfast or you're enjoying your cup of coffee or you're out with friends, don't pick up the phone. But we're conditioned to pick up the phone. Heck. And then you pick up the phone, you're like, yeah, hey, mama, baba, oh, good to, and then they're like, then they start hick, and then it takes you away from your enjoyment. So at a minimum, don't pick up the phone. Look at your work hours. How much are you working? I don't work obscene amounts of hours. A lot, many do, at least here in the US, obscene amounts, myself included. Not anymore, but I'm saying like when I worked in corporate, you're working 60, 70, sometimes 80-hour weeks. Your whole life is work. And then you have the demands of the family and you wonder why we're having panic attacks and anxiety and depression. So you may want to look at how much are you working? but you're afraid that if you work less, you might get fired. More often than not, that's not true. So take an hour out of your workday to go for a walk, to eat your lunch. Simple things.
Yes.
Yeah. Anything else?
No, but I feel like I want to tell her something that I learned from you is it's even if when you take the baby steps and you start small and maybe you trained yourself not to pick up the phone the first thing in the morning and then one day you just happen to pick it up, don't beat yourself up. It's okay. Like just the awareness of you telling yourself, yeah, today I did this and it was wrong. It's also part of you healing and shifting, right?
Of course. Thank you, Mita, for acknowledging that. Yeah, I mean, within our cultural context, you want to pick up the phone. Like there's this part, like we want to be there for our families. And that's a beautiful thing. I'm not suggesting that we don't do that. All I'm suggesting is, can you have those micro moments for you? So the more you can give to yourself, the more you are able to give to others. You're already giving a lot. Imagine if you gave to yourself, how much more. Now, sometimes that scares people. They will say, I don't want to do more. Well, that's okay. Maybe you want to do more of fun things for you, but you will at least have the capacity to do that. You see what I mean? Sort of like, I don't want to give more to people. Well, that's okay. Give more to you. No one's mad at that.
Mm-hmm.
But what typically happens is, because so many Arab family members are stressed out, that one will be quiet, seething, one may be the fighter, one may be the one busy doing everything. Oh, are you okay? Are you okay? Right? Everybody has the role in the family. And you need to ask yourself, what is your role? And you want to limit that emotional overexposure. I'm telling you, one technique I would do for myself, and I love my family, right? This isn't about them. They're fine. But there were times where I was like, okay, they're on 1 week punishment. خلاص. أنا بديش أسمع ولا إشي from حدا. It's one week hiatus.
Yeah.
Did I feel guilty? In the early days, yes. Now and I feel guilty. And I think part of it is because you get so addicted to feeling good that and being good to them, because when you go off or you start yelling, that guilt that you were feeling for not taking care of yourself, well, guess what? That guilt for going off on them or not being kind or not being loving, that guilt goes a long way too. Okay. So you don't need to share. Oh, that's the other thing I wanted to explain around this guilt is what I hear a lot of adult Arab children, what they do is limit you tell them too much. If your parent is emotionally unintelligent, inability to see you or recognize emotions, and here you're sharing details of a vulnerable situation, or you're wanting to connect with them, and then what's happening every time you go in the fire hoping that they will quench with water, then they add more fuel. So if they're not emotionally safe for you, please stop expressing your vulnerability to them. I know this is a tough one because they're your parents and you love them and you want that back from them, but that stress of constantly going in to be vulnerable or sharing a vulnerable detail, and then it's dismissed, criticized, weaponized, or they weaponize the emotion against you. It's horrible. And so this is why sometimes your isolation is for your elevation. Sometimes you need to isolate to move forward. Yet it can overcorrect and you isolate too much because you want to protect yourself. That's why it's so important to have healthy relationships, healthy friendships, support groups That's what I love about the LGBT support group, or the Light for Light support group that we're going to have in another month or so. Because faith communities, online spaces can help you feel grounded, because you're going to need something to tether on outside of your immediate family. Because many of you are absorbers, not observers. So you absorb every mood in the house. And if you're the fixer, you're going to try and fix it. And that's a losing game. You will lose that every time. And in fact, they may make you the problem. They may make you the problem for trying to keep peace in the house, or trying to get people to talk to each other. All right. How are we doing on time, Mita?
We have 8 more minutes, and we have a few comments and questions about boundaries. Would you like to address those?
Sure.
Dania said, how do you make sure that micro boundaries don't turn into a form of distancing that is filled with both guilt and not being present enough, and the fear of worrying the family with your problems?
Oh gosh, that's okay. Let's break that down, because that's that what I call the Arabi ruminating loop of the 15 threads, right? That's not a judgment, Habibti. This is so common, where I'm going to give myself some time. You're saying 30 minutes. I'm going to give myself some time. And then now this micro boundary, you're worried, right, that there's going to create distance. All I'm encouraging you, when that the only distance is going to create is the projection that the family puts on you for taking that time off. There's no distance. Or I think the underlining thing is, the more I give to myself, the more aware I am of these people that may not be in alignment with you. And yeah, that is a worry. That worry about that. Because anytime I've worked with Arab and they get a taste of that, like, oh, I could be free to who I am, that's alluring, that's addicting. And then that toxic behavior, or whatever the stress, whatever they're emotionally dumping on you, you're not going to want to be a part of that. I don't know your situation, but again, the distance that you're feeling, that's a lie in your space. You're not creating distance by giving to yourself. Now, only you can assess how much of that distance is, I guess the second part of that question is filled with both guilt and not being present enough. Well, the better question is, can you be present? Do they allow you to be present? So you're not doing anything wrong by giving to yourself. So to answer this more succinctly for you, try not to be afraid. Your family will always be there. My sense is you will give as much as you can. And in you taking care of yourself, you're not doing anything wrong. They'll be fine. You will feel better in whatever you do for them, is my sense.
Yeah.
But do you see how we do this versus give yourself that micro boundary, see how you feel, and then worry about the other things later. Collect some evidence first. But this type of rumination is what keeps us stuck. This is what keeps us from giving to ourselves, because we're going down the worry well.
Yeah.
And I just say, take a step back, try it, get some evidence, see how you feel, and then move forward.
Mm-hmm. Also, Crystal said, when I try to have some boundaries, it's like they tell her what happened to you.
Oh, yeah. You're on your right path, Crystal. You are on your right path. I said yesterday to somebody, if you are doing something that fills you, mind, body, being, and you are at peace and you are feeling so good, and your family pushes back on you, know you're on the right track. Because people that are used to using you for everything, the moment you pull yourself out of that, immediately they're going to come at you and say, oh, Ishmalik, what happened to you? Well, I don't know. I stopped wanting to be your punching bag. How about that? right? I stopped wanting to do everything for you when I have my own things I need to do. And then you can't even give me a thank you. You can't even be gracious enough to acknowledge what I'm doing for you. And then you want me to keep pouring into you. And then the moment I pull back, now all of a sudden I'm the problem. Now you're the victim as a result of me wanting to breathe because khanaqtuni for so many years. Did I say that right?
Yeah. It's خنقتوني.
Khanaqtuni. Yeah. So don't get into that game. Don't get into that game with them. Okay? If you taking a half a day to yourself or day to yourself is a problem for someone, you're not the problem. You're not the problem. Okay. I think we're finishing up, Mira.
Yeah.
Okay, so let me end this live. I hope this was helpful for folks. You have to remember that the consequences of chronic stress over time, you may be young and your body may handle it, but as you get older, that chronic stress, the burnout, the numbness can be, that's why so many of us are in survival, because you're surviving instead of living. And you lose connection to so many things like joy, creativity, rest, even your sense of self. So please take those time to address what are those stressors and minimize them. In closing, I'd like to say the goal is not to eliminate all stress. That's impossible. The goal is to learn to regulate, recover, and rebuild a life where your nervous system isn't constantly in survival mode. And so I'll leave you with asking yourself, what drains me the most right now? What makes me feel a little safer? What parts of myself become smaller when I'm stressed? And here at Community for International Arab, we say, nawar, that the light in me sees the light in you, and to be bigger. Be bigger. And in order to be bigger, it's about giving to yourself and understanding what keeps you, these stressors keep you small. Address them so that you can be in the fullness of your life. Thank you, everybody. Thank you to this community. Thank you, Mira. So very blessed to be able to do this with you. Please join us next Wednesday, Wadih Wednesday, and we'll have another topic, which I haven't figured out yet. Oh, I do. Banat. This topic that I'm going to do next week is for you. If you're not married, you're single, or for the shabab, we're going to talk about how to keep yourself whole, talk about stress. We're going to talk ways about how to move through that. All right, everybody, take care. Have a good one.